Hello guys, welcome to the DMS online school. If you're new to this channel, you are most welcome. And on this channel, I teach mathematics, biology, science, and also revise past examination papers, just as I'm doing now. So in today's lesson, we will be revising mathematics paper 1 for Examination Council of Zambia, examination for general certificate of education ordinary level GCE, the paper that was written in 2020. Alright, so if you are watching this channel for the first time, please consider subscribing so that you don't miss on my next upload. So guys, without wasting much of your time, let's go straight into the lesson. So let's start with the first question, which says simplify 2a plus open brackets b minus a close brackets minus 2b. So what is to simplify? To simplify, it is to make an expression given simpler. So when you look at this expression, it is actually an algebraic expression which they want us to make simpler. So for us to be able to make this algebraic expression simpler, we must first also get rid of the brackets. So notice that after plus here we have the brackets. So what this actually means is that in front of these brackets, or between plus and the brackets, there's a 1 which they don't indicate. All right, so for the sake of understanding, in simplifying this algebraic expression, because on my channel I believe, and it's my aim to make the people that visit my channel to understand whatever it is that we are doing. So what I'm saying here is that we are going to rewrite this expression as plus 2a plus, then in between plus and the brackets, I said there's a 1 which they don't write, but we are going to write it. Then we'll say open brackets b minus a close brackets minus 2b. So now in simplifying, we have to get rid of these brackets. So first of all, we'll get 2a. Then for us to get rid of the bracket, we have to multiply the number before the brackets with everything inside the bracket. So what it means here is that this positive 1 must be multiplied with b and also be multiplied with negative 1. So we are going to say plus 1 times b, which will give us plus b, or positive b. All right, then we are going to say positive 1 times negative a. It is going to give us negative a. Then the brackets has been cleared out. Then we'll bring down here minus 2b. Then from here, we are now going to simplify by collecting like terms. So like terms are terms which have similar letters. So like how many terms are in this expression? We have this term, this term, this term, and this term. There are 4 terms. So which one have like letters? So we have 2a here and also a here. So these are like terms. So we are going to say 2a, then we'll get this negative a, bring it closer, because this is what is called collecting like terms together. So this is negative a, then we'll get b also will be closer to negative 2, so same, plus b minus 2b. Then from here now, we are going to either subtract or add the like terms. So in this case, we'll subtract the like terms. So 2a minus a, it will give us a. All right, then here we'll say b minus 2b, it will give us minus b. So here we have a and also b. So can we simplify this further? Basically, no, because these are not like terms. So we are going to end here. So we have simplified this expression to this. All right, so here our answer is going to be A negative B. All right, so let's move to the next question. The next question, which is question 2, says evaluate, open brackets, 64 over 125, close brackets, to the power negative 1 over 3. So for us to be able to simplify this one, which is actually an index form or a question coming from the topic known as indices. So if you want to understand how to solve indices, click on the video whose link is appearing here. So now to simplify this one, we must first get rid of the minus here. So to get rid of the minus here, we'll say 1 over a big line here, then we'll get this. Now we won't have a minus, so we'll say 64 over 125, open brackets, close brackets, then 1 over 3. So this 1 over 3 now does not have the negative because it has been removed by this 1 over. Then from here, what does this 1 over 3 mean? So power 1 over 3 means it means the square root of the whole expression here, the cube root, I mean, it means the cube root of 64 over 125. So we'll rewrite this one by saying 1 over, then we'll say the cube root of 64 over 125. So this means this. So the cube root of 64 over 125. So what is a cube root of 64? So a cube root is a number for 64 that can be multiplied by itself 3 times for us to obtain 64. And also a cube root for 125 is a number that we can multiply by itself 3 times to get 125. So in this case, the number that we can multiply by itself how many times to get 64 is definitely 4. Again here, the number that we can multiply by itself to get 125 is 5. Right, so we'll write this one as 1 over, here I said the cube root of 64 will be 4, then the cube root of 125 will be 5. All right, so from here, we are now going to write this expression like this, because 1 divided by 4 over 5 can be written as 1, then this one will write divided by 4 over 5. Then from here, what we are going to do is to introduce a multiplication sign in place of the division sign. That's what it means. When you are dividing fractions, a number with a fraction or fraction with a fraction, the division always is changed from the division to a multiplication sign. So it will be 1 times. Now when you introduce a times in place of division, then you have to reciprocate the numbers here. The number that was the denominator becomes the numerator, and the number that was the numerator becomes the denominator. So we have a 5 divided by 4. Then from here we are going to multiply 1 times 5, which will be actually 5 over 4. Then this one becomes an improper fraction. So we cannot leave a question like this in mathematics. You cannot leave a bigger number divided by a smaller number like that. We call this one an improper fraction. So what we are going to do is to divide 4 into 5 to clear out the improper fraction. So 4 into 5, how many times does it go there? 1, remainder 1 over 4. So this one becomes our final answer here. All right. So let's go to the next question. Question number 3 says, given that the line 3y is equal to x plus 6 and y is equal to kx plus 12 are perpendicular, find the value of k. So we are being asked to find the value of k of these two lines here. So these equations, two equations, represents two straight lines that are perpendicular to each other. So let me just demonstrate what it means to be perpendicular to each other. Let's say we have the x-axis here, then we have also the y-axis here, then let's have the origin here as 0. Then if these two lines are perpendicular to each other, we have 3y is equal to x plus 6 and y is equal to kx plus 12. So these values here represents the y-intercept. So these two lines here, or straight lines here, are intercepting the y-axis. So this one is intercepting the y-axis at 12, and this is intercepting the y-axis at 6. So let's draw this one. So if this one is intercepting the y-axis at 12, and this one at 6, and then these lines are perpendicular, then it means this line is going downward like this. All right, so this straight line by this equation here, it's going like that. Then this one, then it is going like that, like that. So this one must be perpendicular like this, meaning when they cross each other, these two lines, the angle they make between themselves is 90 degrees. That's what it means to be perpendicular. So this line now is 3y is equal to x plus 6. So in mathematics, there's a rule that when two lines are perpendicular to each other, the multiplication or the product of their gradient, the gradient of this line and the gradient of this line, when multiplied, they should give you a -1. All right, so that's the rule. So now, so we need to know the gradient of this one and the gradient of this one. How do we know the gradient? The gradient can be found from actually the equation itself. Let's write the standard equation here so that you understand what I'm talking about. So if we have the standard equation here which says y is equal to mx plus c. This is a standard equation for a straight line. This coefficient of x here, m, is called the gradient. And then this c here is called the y-intercept. So that's why I was telling you that this one is the y-intercept as well as this one. Now, this one becomes the gradient. As long as you have y on the left side of the equal sign, then you have a value like x plus a number. Then that equation becomes the equation of a straight line, and the coefficient of x becomes the gradient. So in this case now, when we look at this equation here, it is not in the form of this standard equation because y here is not alone. It has a coefficient of 3. So we have to get rid of these 3 here so that we just have y alone to know what the gradient of this line here is. So in this case, in this line here, the gradient is k because this is the coefficient of x, and that's what they want us to find, the gradient of this line here. All right, so let's write this one as a standard because this one is already in the form of the standard, but this one is not yet. So we'll say 3y is equal to x plus 6. In order to make it the standard, we'll make y the subject of the formula. how to make the subject of the formula. If you don't know, click on the video whose link is appearing here to learn more, but I'll also teach you here. So since between y and 3 there is a multiplication that we don't show, that you should just know in mind. If we don't have a minus in between, we don't have an addition, we don't have a division, then between these there is a multiplication that we don't show. So in order to get rid of 3, since we have multiplication, the opposite will be division. So we divide this by 3. So whatever we do on the left side of the equal sign, we also do it on the right side. So we also say this one divide by 3 and also this divide by 3. So 3 by 3, it will cancel or remain with y is equal to, so this one becomes 1 over 3x plus this one, then 3 into 6, which will be 2. So this equation has been expressed in standard form like this one. So here what it means is that in this equation, the gradient is 1 over 3. So remember what I said, if these two lines are perpendicular to each other, then the product of their gradients must be equal to -1. So let's say we have gradient represented by m1, the gradient for this straight line, then times the gradient of this line we are calling m2 must give us -1. But we know that the gradient of this line, which we have solved like this in this form, is this coefficient of x here. So where there's m2, there's 1 over 3. But this m1 is for the gradient of this line, which is the coefficient of k, which we don't know. So we'll substitute, we'll say here k multiplied with m, which will be replaced with 1 over 3, then is equal to -1. Then we'll multiply k times 1, which will be k over 3 is equal to -1. Then we are going to make k the subject of the formula. So to do that, first of all, we should also make this other side a fraction by saying over 1. Then we are going to cross multiply k times 1 and then 3 times -1. So k times 1, it will give us k, then we'll say equals, then we'll say 3 times -1, it will give us -3. That simply means that the value for k is -1. Find the value of k. We have found the value of k as -1. So let me know in the comment section if you are getting value from this video and give it a like. All right, so let's say now the value of k here is -1. Let's move to another question here. Question 4 says, factorize completely 6ax minus 4ay minus 3bx plus 2by. So they need us to factorize this algebraic expression. So how do we factorize an algebraic expression? By actually factoring out the terms and the numbers that appear common on the terms. So what we are going to say here, we are going to collect like terms. So we'll say 2a, I mean this one there's no need to collect like terms. So we'll just look at 6ax and here we have 4ay. So in these two pairs here, do we have a like term? Yes, we have a. Do we have a number that can go into 6 and 4? Yes, which is 2. So that's why we have 2 can go into 6 and 4. Because as I said, to simplify or to factorize, it is to look for a common factor among the terms here. So here we have 6, then 4, 3, 2. We have a number which can go into 6, into 4, into 3. We don't have. All right. So we have a number which can go into 6, into 4. But into 3, we do not have. So that means that these have a common factor. Also, we have a here, we have a here. So these will be factorized as a pair like this. And also we have here 3bx and here 2by. So we have b here and b here. So these will be factorized accordingly like that. So what I am saying is now here we'll say the common factor is 2a. We have a here, 2 can go into 6, 2 can go into 4. Then once we factor like that, we'll say open brackets. So what number can we multiply 2 with in order to get 6, which will be now 3. Then what number remained here? When we got 2a, what remained here is x. We put x there, then minus. Then here also, we'll say what number can we multiply 2 with in order to get 4? It is 2. Then we have y which remained here. So it is 2y here, cross brackets. Then here we are going to also look for a factor which is b here. So since there's a negative here, we'll write negative b, then open brackets here. So when we factor out negative b here, we'll remain with 3x here. So we'll have a 3x, then here, instead of having plus, we'll have minus. So that if we have minus, when we want to get back to this expression, it will be easy, because if we say negative b times 3x, it will be 3bx. Again, if we say negative b times negative b, it will be positive, that one. So that's why here definitely you have to change, because that's where students or learners find it wrong when they fail to follow exactly what is supposed to be done. So here we remain with 2y. So have 2y cross brackets. Then from here, you check this is one term here separated by minus, and this is another term on the other side of the minus. So when you look at this term here and this term here, they're also the same. So you factor it out, you write it once. So you say open brackets 3x minus 2y, then close the brackets. Then once you factor it once, here you remain with it. You say open brackets, you remain with it 2a. Then here you remain with minus b. Then you have factorized completely this algebraic expression. So this is our answer here. All right. So let's go to question 5, which says, given that, so the answer is this one here. So let's go to question 5, which says, given that A is the point, open brackets, negative 2, 1, close brackets, and B is the point, open brackets, 1, 5, close brackets. Then they say find vector AB, or the magnitude of the line AB. So if these are the points, 2 points, then they're making a line. Definitely 2 points will make a line. Whether it is horizontal or a gradient, we don't care. But as long as there are 2 points, they are going to make a line when plotted. So if they put an expression like this in these modulus bars here, and then a line there, they're saying we find the vector of the line AB, the magnitude of the vector line AB, which is made by these 2 points. So magnitude is size. So the magnitude of a vector is going to be given by, before we do that, you need to know that this point here represents x. So let's say it represents x1, comma, then this point here must represent y1, all right, on the x-axis, and also this point here represents x2, and this point represents y2. Right, so having this will help us. Then we are going to say the magnitude here is found by this general equation. So, excuse me, magnitude is given by this expression here, formula, which says open brackets x 2, this x2 minus x1 here, close brackets squared, plus open brackets y2, this y2 here, minus this y1 here, close brackets squared. So we are going to say is equal to, then we'll substitute. Where there's x2, we'll put what? 1. Where there's x1, we'll put what? Negative 2. Again, where there's y2, we'll put what? 5. Where there's y1, we'll put what? 2. So we'll say open brackets. Now it will be this one here, where there's x2 here, x2 1, minus, open brackets, this other minus. Whenever you are facing a minus, like we are saying, this minus is this one. Now, this minus, it's these two coming with a minus. Then you have to put a bracket there. So, except that here I forgot to put another bracket that moves with this. So, this is this. Then we were supposed to have this one this side. I forgot, I just had to put this for this one here. So we're supposed to have another one here, here, bracket here, so that it closes with this. This bracket, it is to separate this minus 2 with this minus here already. That's how it is done. Then this plus is this one, open brackets, this one, where there's y2, y2 here represents 5, we'll put 5 minus. Then where there's 1, y1, y1 here represents 1, so we'll put 1, close brackets, square, square, squared. Then we'll say equals, then what we are going to say here is this. So you see, you say positive times, negative times negative, it will give you positive. So this one will become like this. So this one is this one here. Then we'll say negative times negative, because we want to clear out this bracket here. So negative times negative, it will be positive. So these two will come here. Then the bracket will be there. So we have cleared this bracket, but that other bracket, which is this one here, then squared, then plus this plus here, then we'll say 5 minus 1, which will be 4, square, square. Then it will be equals, then it will be this. So say 1 plus 2, which will be 2, square, plus, then 4 here squared. It is like that, all right? Then what we are going to do is like this. So say 3 squared, 9, plus here 4 squared is 16. Then we'll say, we'll add now 9 plus 16 25. Then we'll say the square root of 25, which will be 5. So the answer here will be 5 units. That will be the magnitude 5 units, because we haven't been given the units here. So let's move to another question. So this is question 6, which says use set notation to describe the shaded region in the diagram below. So we have this Venn diagram in which we have 3 sets, set P, set Q, set R. Then in this situation we are told this shaded area is actually an intersection of set Q intersection set R. Then this intersection between Q and R is not shaded, meaning it's not included. Even the intersection of all these sets is not included, and the intersection of P and R is not shaded, so it's not needed. So what does it mean? So it means we have set Q. This shaded area is for set Q intersection the members that are in set R. Then intersection complement. The complement means those that are not part, because we haven't shaded these, no? So meaning excluding. So it will be like this, the answer in short. So Q intersection R cross brackets intersection P complement. So P complement, those members that are found in this set P, they are not shaded, meaning they are not part and the parcel. That's what it means, complement here, excluded. So these members here, P intersection Q here, these are the ones shaded here. We put them together, then excluding the intersection of those that are in P. All right, so that's how you are supposed to answer this one. Then let's move to another question. It says, given that A is equal to, given that A is a matrix which is 1, 2, 1, 3, 0, close comma, then B is a matrix which is, open brackets, negative 1, x, 0, 2, close brackets, and C is a matrix which is 7, negative 1, 6, 0, close brackets. Then they say, find A, C, T. So CT says, or is read as C transpose. So C transpose, how do we find a transpose? So by definition, a transpose of a matrix is found by interchanging the rows as columns. So when they say find A, C transpose, which is this matrix you see here, the transpose is found by interchanging the rows. These are the rows which goes like that. These are the rows. So they're saying these rows in a transpose must become the columns which goes like that. So meaning this one will be row. So you start with 7, it will be turned upright now. So you start with 7, 6, 7, 6. So which was going like this, now it becomes upright like this. So the first row becomes the first column. The first letter followed by the second number. I mean the first number followed by the second number, like that. Then the second row becomes the second column. The first number first, the second number second. So this is our answer, the transpose of matrix C. Then here we are told again, find Bx for which AB is equal to C. So they want us to find X here, for which when you get matrix A times matrix B, that's what it means when they say AB. It means in between A and B there is a multiplication which they are not showing you. But you must bear in mind that when they write a matrix like this, AB, it means matrix A times matrix B is equal to matrix C. So we'll write like this first, this expression. We'll write it as shown. All right. So same, matrix A is represented by this. Then we'll put this one here. Then B here, it's this one. So put it there. So matrix A times matrix B, then equal sign here. Then matrix C is this one here, this one. It will come there. Then what you are going to do now is to multiply, because this means multiplying matrix A with matrix B. So how do you multiply matrices? So for you to be able to multiply matrices, the rows, the number of rows in the first matrix or matrix must be equal to the number of columns in the second matrix. So these are rows. The first matrix has got how many rows? 1, 2. Then the second matrix has got how many columns? 1, 2. So since the number of rows and the number of columns is equivalent, then the matrix or the matrices can be multiplied. So these can be multiplied. So how? You multiply the first row with the second column. Again, the same first row again with the second column. Again, you shift the second row with the first column, and again the second row again with the second column. So you multiply here, you say 2 times 1. That's how it goes. The first letter in the first row with the first letter in the first column. The second letter in the first row with the second letter in the second, with the second letter in the same first column. Once you are done with this one, you leave it, then you go again. The first letter in the first row with the first letter in the second column, and then the second letter in the first, the second number in the first row multiplied with the second number in the second column. That's how it goes. So this one again will be with this with this. Again with this, that. Again this with that. Sorry, kind of making some errors in my explanation, but I hope you are getting the point. So we'll say this times that. So 2 times -1, which will be -2. Then we'll shift, we'll say plus. You need to put a plus now because we are going to this one. So say 3 times x. So 3 times x, it will be 3x. Then we are done. All right. Then we'll shift 2 times 0, which will be 0. Not putting plus. The moment you shift to another, then you can't get plus. So once this one is done, this one picks on this one on this, you should do a plus. Now as you move to another column, don't put a plus. So say 2 times 0, 0. Then 3 times, you say plus 3 times 2, which will be 6. Then this one is done. Then you shift to this one. So 1 times -1, which will be -1. Then this one times this, so you put a plus here. You are still dealing with this column. So you say 0 times x, which will be 0. All right. So you are done now. So you are shifting now to another column. So you say 1 times 0, 1 times 0, which will be 0. Then plus, then 0 times 2, which will be 0. All right. So from here now, you are going to close this one into brackets, then equal sign, then equals this matrix here. So what you are going to do now is to make sure that these are grouped. Brackets, 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 brackets. So from here, you must know that this actually here corresponds to this letter here. This again corresponds to this number. Sorry, not letter, number. This one also corresponds to this. This corresponds to this. Now, since we are being asked to find the value of x, we will not mind these values that do not contain the x. Excuse me. So we won't remind this one which contains the x. So we'll remain with this. So we'll pick this is equal to 7. So we'll say a -2 plus 3x is equal to 7. Then this one becomes an equation. All right. So I did some lessons on equations. So if you want to go there and learn more, you should click on the link appearing here. If you have downloaded this video, you won't see it. That's why it is important to watch this video when it is live on YouTube, so that you can see the links to other videos. So now this one becomes an equation. So when you have an equation like this, you need to solve it by collecting like terms together and then remaining with a variable on the left side of the equal sign alone. So you know this one is a number single and this one, so these are like terms, so this will cross. So you have 3x is equal to 7. When this crosses, it becomes positive 2. Then say 3x is equal to 7 plus 2, 9. To remain with x, since between 3 and x there's a multiplication we don't see, so in order to get rid of 3 to remain with x, multiplication means we divide by 3. So divide by 3, whatever we do on the left side, we do it on the right side. We divide also by 3. So this 3 and 3 goes, will remain with what? With x here. So x is equal to 3 into 9, which will be 3. So x here is equal to 3. So let's move to another question, which is question 8. Question 8 says, given that the 11th term of an arithmetic progression is 43 and that the first term is 3. Find the A, common difference, B, fourth term. All right, so this is an arithmetic progression. So an arithmetic progression is represented by this formula here, which is Tn is equal to A plus, open brackets, n minus 1, open brackets, d, where this Tn represents the nth term, So for example, an arithmetic progression actually is a sequence with numbers with a common difference. All right, where is the ink? I need the color so that you see properly. So an arithmetic progression is like this one, like 1, 2, 3, 4. This one is a sequence, and this sequence is an arithmetic progression because in between consecutive numbers there's a difference of 1. Between 1 and 2 the difference is 1. Between 2 and 3 the difference is 1. Between 3 and 4 the difference is 1. So such a sequence like this one is known as an arithmetic progression. So an arithmetic progression is represented by this formula here. So when we say the nth term here, it is these terms here which we have here. They are called nth term. So sometimes in this one they can say dot, then they say we find the value of the fifth term. So this is the first term, second term, third term, fourth term, then the fifth term, what will be its value. So that term can be found by this formula here, and it is this one, the fifth value or term. So that's what it means by that. So this one is for finding the fifth or the nth term. Then this one here is the first term. St is for first term. The first term, like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 is the first term. Then plus open brackets. Then n here, it is the position of nth term. The position of the nth term. Like I said, if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, then if we say dot, then they say we find this other term here. So this other term which we don't know, what is its position? It is from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's on position number 5. So this is what this value represents, the position of that term. All right. Then this D here represents what we call the common difference. The difference which is common between consecutive terms, like when you say 1, 2, 3, 4. So the difference in between here, it's always 1, 1, 1. So that difference, since it is 1, 1, it is common. We call it the common difference. All right, so now what we are going to do now here, it is now to use this formula to solve the common difference, which is D. They want us to find D. All right, so now we are going to substitute, because they are saying given that the 11th term of an arithmetic progression is 43, so the actual term by 11 for position number 11 there is 43, which means the value is 43. So we'll say 43 is equal to, then they've told us, and that the first term is a 3, meaning the first term 3, which is represented by A, it will be 3 plus open brackets. Then they've said n is the position of that nth term. So 43 is at position number 11. So we'll say 11 minus 1, close brackets, then D, which we don't know. So what we are going to do here, we now have an algebraic expression or an equation. That's why equations are very important in mathematics, just as chemical equations are important in chemistry, and they never miss. Also equations, they never miss in mathematics. They're always there. So you just need to know them. So when you have an equation like this one here, what do you do with it now? So you collect like terms. So you have this term which have a D here, and you have this term which is just a number, and this term. So this will go to another term because these are just numbers. So when it crosses, it becomes 43. This one becomes minus 3, then equals. Then here we are going to multiply, or first we'll subtract 11 minus 1, which will be 10. 10 times D, which will be 10D. Then we'll say we are going to start with this term here, because this is the one which has the D we want to know. So we'll say 10D is equal to, then this one will subtract 43 minus 3, which will be 40. So here there's nothing that we have done wrong. We have only swapped, because if you are to find the common difference, which is D here, it must be on the right or left side of the equal sign. So when you swap around the terms accordingly, that is allowed in mathematics. So in short, we said 43 minus 3, excuse me, we got 40 this side. Then we swapped, we got the 40, push it this side, the 10D, push it this side. This is how we arrived at this. Now we want to remain with D here alone. Since between 10 and D there's a multiplication, for us to get rid of the 10, we divide by 10, also divide by 10 here. All right, so now we cancel 10 into 10, we cancel, remain with D is equal to 10 into 40, which will be 4. So here the common difference here is 4. All right, so let's move to the second question, which they're saying find the fourth term. So fourth term at the position number 4, what actual value is going to be there, like here? So let's have the same equation here. It's the same equation we are going to use. Now we have to find this at position number 4. So we'll say equals, or D here will say equals, here it is still 3 plus open brackets position. This one represents the position. All right, so which position? 4th, minus 1. The common difference we have already known, it is D. So what we are going to do here is to say minus, then 3 plus, then we'll say 4 minus 1, 5, 5, 3. 3 times 4, 12. All right? So 3 times 4, then 3 plus 3 times 4, 12. Then we'll say the nth term is going to be now 3 plus 12, which will be 15. So it is 15. Let's move to another question, which is question number 9. Question number 9 says a plane flying at a speed of 900 knots takes 5 hours to fly from town A to town B. Calculate the difference or the distance between the two towns. Then B, point Q on longitude 85 degrees east lies on the equator and is due east of P. The time difference between P and Q is 5 hours. Calculate the longitude on which P lies. So this is Earth geometry. All right, so the first question is asking us to find what? To find the calculate the distance between the two towns. So we are told a plane flying at a speed of 900 knots takes 5 hours to fly from town A to town B. Then they say calculate the distance between the two towns. So this 900 knots is speed, all right? Then this is time, and they're asking for distance. All right, so speed in knots is in knot mile per hour. So when they say speed is in knots, the actual units are knot mile per hour. So we are going to use the speed formula, which says speed is equal to distance over time, which simply says speed represented by s, then distance by d, time by t. So we are going to have now speed here. So they are asking us to find the distance, so which is d. We are going to make d the subject of the formula by saying divided by 1. So cross multiply. So 1 times d, d equals then 1 times s, which is s t times t. Then we'll substitute d is equal to s speed 900 times t time 5 hours. So it will mean d is equal to now, when we multiply this, it will be 45 or 4,500 nautical miles. So nautical miles are abbreviated as NM. So distance is 4,500 nautical miles. So let's go to question B, which says point B on point Q on longitude 85 degrees east lies on the equator and is due east of P. The time difference between P and Q is 5 hours. Calculate the longitude on which P lies, Earth geometry. So what we are going to have a line here representing the equator. Then we'll have a line which we are going to call the Greenwich meridian, which separates the east from the west. So Greenwich meridian, which is at 0 degrees. Then from there we'll have this point Q, which lies at 85 degrees east. So it should be east of the Greenwich meridian. So this will be point what? Q, lying at 85 degrees. So it is on this side east. Then since it lies on the equator and is due east of P, so it is due east of P, so meaning P is this side. So have P here, also point P here. Then they're saying the time difference between, all right, point P and Q is 5 hours. So in between this, the time difference is 5 hours. So now, how are we going to solve this equation? So for us to solve this question here, we must know when you move from this point, you spend 5 hours. So that 5 hours, how much it is in degrees? All right. So you understand that if you have the earth like this one here, and we have this point here, so if this one make a complete rotation like that, okay, this point has come back. Maybe I want to show you what has happened. This point, when it makes a complete rotation like it goes, it goes and comes back at the same point. It has made a complete rotation, which is equivalent to 360 degrees. So also this complete rotation, if it is in hours, it is equivalent to 24 hours. So the earth, when it makes a complete rotation, it makes also 24 hours and also 360 degrees. So we know now that 24 hours is equal to 360 degrees. How about 5 hours? It will be how many degrees? All right, I hope you are getting this. So you are going to cross multiply. So you begin with this value, say 24 hour times Cx, which would be 24 hour x equals 5 hour times 360 degrees, which will be 1800 degree hour. We want to remain with Cx, we divide by 24 hour, here also by 24 hour. So the 24 hour will go. Then we'll remain with X is equal to 24 hour into 1800 degrees. Will have 75 degrees. This one and this one will cancel. So, excuse me. So 24 into 1800, it will be 75 degrees. So meaning that if you have 5 hour here, then you have how many degrees? 75 degrees here. So now 5 hour is 75 degrees. All right. So if you want to move from here to here, or from here back to here, you must move how many? 75 degrees or 5 hours. Now, if you are at 85 from here, let's say from 0 to this line, it's what we want to know, because east, we are moving from east going this way. What is it going to be? But we know that this 85 is from 0. So 85 to, 0 to 85 here, this. So when you move from the Greenwich meridian to the point Q, you make 85 degrees. But however, between this point and this point, we have 75. So how do we know this? So just say 85 minus 75, which will be what? 10 degrees. All right? So it will be 10 degrees. So the answer is 10 degrees east. So this one is at 10 degrees east. So let's move to question 10. Question 10 says, A, the probability of a girl not wearing a necktie is 0.55. What is the probability of that? What is the probability that the same girl will wear a necktie? Then B, given that 8 to power x minus 1 is equal to 16, find the value of x. All right, so let's begin by answering the first question. So we must understand that probability is the measure of the possibility of an event happening. You get it? The measure of the probability of an event happening, how probable that an event can happen. So the probability of an event happening depends on what chances are there for that event happening, all right, over all the chances. So for example, probability is always found by actual outcomes divided by possible outcomes, all right. So for example, if I am a pupil and we opened, so if we opened as a pupil, I have to be going to school, but I have also to be absent on certain days depending on the circumstances, all right. I can decide to go to school or not depending on the mood I am in. So now the probability of me going to school on a certain day is actually from the two probabilities which are there. The probability or the possible outcomes are two. Either on a day I can go to school or I cannot go to school. How many outcomes? Two. Now, going to school and not going to school cannot occur at the same time. I cannot at the same time I have gone to school, at the same time I have not gone to school on the same day. No. Only one activity can happen. I can either go or not go. So out of the two outcomes, there is only one possible outcome at a time. That's why we say probability is equal to actual outcomes divided by the possible outcome. So in this case of a girl, the probability of a girl not wearing a necktie is 0.55. What is the probability that the same girl will wear a necktie? So a girl can either wear a necktie or cannot wear. So in relation to wearing or not wearing a necktie, there are two possible outcomes here. But only one outcome can be done. It cannot be that a girl hasn't worn the necktie and also has worn a necktie at the same time. No. Of these two possibilities, one can happen at a time. So which is given by actual outcome over possible outcome. So in this case, it can be 1/3. The outcome which can happen at a time is 1 out of how many possibilities which are there, either wearing or not wearing, 2. So it can be 1/2. So a probability is always, total probability is always equal to 1. It is always equal to 1. Total probability is always equal to 1. So only one thing can happen at a time, not two of them. So that is the total probability. All right. However, of that one, there's another probability for not wearing, another probability for wearing. So for you to get 1, meaning these two, they get half out of that actual outcome. They have got half chances each. So the only outcome is 1. But out of that one outcome, each of these chances have got half a chance of being that outcome. So that's what it means. So in this case, since they have told us one outcome here, that the probability of the girl not wearing the necktie is 0.55. Then we'll put the equation like this. We'll say P, which is probability, W wearing. So the probability of a girl wearing the necktie plus the probability of a girl not wearing the necktie must give us 1. That's how it is. So only one outcome must come. But this one has a chance of being that outcome, and this one have a chance of being that outcome. But we don't know which one is which. But for us to get this, then it means this is half, this is half. It cannot be this is 0, then this is 1, or this is 0, this is 1. No, we can't know. How can we know? We can't. That's why we know that this one must be half, this one must be half. But we are told now that the probability here is 0.5 for not wearing. So here it will be 0.55. So we'll say probability of wearing plus 0.55 is equal to 1. So it has become an equation, as I told you. So since it is an equation, this number and number, they must be on the same side. So this will cross. So I have probability of wearing is equal to 1. This one becomes minus 0.55. So we'll say probability is equal to 1 minus 0.55, which will be 0.45. So this is the probability of wearing. It will be 0.45. All right. So let's move to B, which says, given that 8x minus 1 is equal to 16, find the value of x. So this is coming from application of the laws of indices. I already did a video there. You can watch this video whose link is appearing here to understand further. So we'll copy this one. We'll say, for us to be able to solve this equation, we must make sure that the bases on the same side of the equation becomes equal. That's how we solve this equation. So we'll look at a number that can be raised to a certain power for the bases to be equal here. Which number can be raised to a power to give us 8, and a number that can be raised to a certain power to give us 16. That number must be the same here. So it will be 2. So 2 raised to power 3. 2 raised to power 3, it gives us what? 8. Also 2 raised to power 4, it gives us what? 16. So that's why we are saying 2 raised to the power 3 is 8. So this one now, it has become 8. Then this power will be brought here, open brackets, x minus 1, close brackets. So this 8 is 2 to power 3. So this 3 now multiplied with this power equals this one. Then this 16 can be written as 2 to power 4. Now the bases are equal. We forget about them. We pick the powers. So we'll say, now open brackets, negative 1 minus x minus negative 1 is equal to 4 here. That's how we do it. So now to clear out the bracket, we'll multiply 3 times x, which is 3x, 3 times negative 1, which will be negative 3, equals 4. So the brackets are cleared. So collect like terms as usual. Equations are always coming. You need to know equations. I'm emphasizing. So this is a number, this is a number. So this one will cross. So I have 3x is equal to this 4. This one becomes positive 3. Then 3x is equal to 4 plus 3, which will be 7. To remain with the x, say divided by 3, divided by 3. 3 will cancel. We'll have x is equal to 3 into 7, which will be 2, 1 over 3 here as our x here. So 1 over 3, 2, 1 over 3. So guys, we have come to the end of this revision. I hope you enjoyed it and you learned something. So if you haven't subscribed, and I have seen a lot of you guys, you haven't subscribed to my channel. I don't know why. Tell me what it is that I'm doing wrong so that I may be able to correct that one, so that you become my subscribers. Because anyway, it is up to you. The choice is yours, but subscription is free. You don't pay me anything. You just click on the red subscribe button there which says subscribe. You subscribe, then you turn on the notification so that when I post a video, YouTube will notify you. That way you won't miss out. Maybe you are missing out a lot of my videos that I'm uploading. Alright, so guys, for now we have to the end of this lesson. Until next time, as for now, bye and please, peace.